Welcome to the Bothell City Council meeting of October 1st, 2019. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We've got the surgery lights on. That's good. Meeting agenda approval. Is there any changes to tonight's meeting agenda? We are good. Public engagement opportunities. Let's see, the pros plan workshop, Tuesday, October 10th from 6:30 to 8:30 in the council chambers. Provide input on the update to the Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Plan. Arts and Culture Workshop at City Hall, Saturday, October 12th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., Friday, October 18th, 9 a.m. to noon, Monday, October 28th, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Fire Station Open Houses, Saturday, October 12th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at all fire stations. On the Road, Bothell Auto History, Thursday, October 17th at 7 p.m. at the Bothell Library. And then the last is the Halloween on Main Street, October 31st, 5 to 7 p.m. Dress up, show up, get candy. Especially for the little kids. Did the dog costume thing, did that go down already? Oh, I missed it. All right, bummer. Okay. So now we're on to the proclamations. So we have two. We're going to have the deputy mayor do the first one because it makes me cry every year. So she's going to do it.
Is this on? Okay, great. So this proclamation is for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Whereas domestic violence is a serious crime that affects 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men during their lifetime, and whereas domestic violence has a devastating impact on survivors, children, families, and our community, and whereas domestic violence is widespread and crosses all economic, racial, gender, educational, religious, and societal barriers, and whereas domestic violence is sustained by indifference, and whereas ending the cycle of domestic violence requires the courage of survivors and the support of the larger community, and whereas education, prevention, and intervention efforts to end the cycle of domestic violence are imperative to protect survivors and to increase public awareness. Now, therefore, I, Andrew Rayum, Mayor of the City of Bothell, do hereby proclaim October 2019 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the City of Bothell and urge all citizens to speak out against domestic violence, support survivors, and support efforts to end it in our community. Sign this day, the first day of October 2019. And to accept the proclamation is Emma Letty of the Snohomish County Domestic Violence Services. Super. Here, I'll take my Post-its.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I am Emma. I am the Development and Volunteer Manager for Domestic Violence Services of Snohomish County. Thank you for having me today, and thank you for this proclamation. We're very excited that this falls on October 1st because it is the beginning of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. All month long, we will have a variety of activities going on because it's important for us to reach out to the community and educate people on our programs and services, whether it's for themselves, a friend, or a family member. For those of you that may not know a little bit of history of Domestic Violence Services of Snohomish County, we were founded in 1976, and it really started as that grassroots movement. There were some women that said, there's a problem here and we aren't really seeing a solution. So they started with safe houses and brought women into their own homes, and then they realized that might not be the safest idea. So they acquired a house that had about 15 rooms, only 2 bathrooms, so everybody was trying to use the same bathroom and get ready in the morning, and that just wasn't really working either. So about 8 years ago, we started our capital campaign, and we were able to acquire our new property in Everett about 6 years ago. So we now have a 52-bed shelter. All the rooms are private. They have their own bathrooms, their own safes. Everything is private for that family, and so we're very proud of that, and the shelter works great for us. We also provide comprehensive services to all of Snohomish County. We have a 24-hour support line, so friends, family, anybody that feels like maybe they have a domestic violence situation going on, they can call and kind of get that started and see what services we can provide. We also have our supportive housing department, so some people might not necessarily need to go to shelter if it's not immediate danger, and we can help them find housing. Maybe they need help with first and last month's rent. Maybe they just need to change the locks on their door, and we have funds in place to help with that. We also have several different support groups. One of them is in Bothell, which we're really happy that we continue to do that. We have a good turnout in Bothell. We also have a great children's program. We have children's advocates in our shelter that help the kids with everything they're going through. We have a really great youth center for the kids to go out there and just be kids and play and do art camp and all those wonderful things. We also have our prevention program that we're really proud of. We have 2 staff members that go out to almost all of the high schools in Snohomish County and talk about teen dating violence and healthy relationships and kind of starting that conversation early and kind of stopping any problems before they even start. We also have our legal advocacy department. So clients may come in, they don't know how to fill out a protection order or how to get a divorce. Where do I take it? What do I sign? All of that, and they can help clients with that. They can also go with clients to court. They aren't lawyers, but they can be kind of a support system for them. So those are some of the programs and services we provide to all people in Snohomish County. Like I said, in Bothell particularly, we have our support group, which is ongoing. We also hold a domestic violence panel in Bothell for perpetrators that are mandated to come to these sorts of trainings. And we also work closely with the domestic violence advocate for the city of Bothell, so we're grateful for that partnership and that continued partnership. So again, we thank you so much for this proclamation. It really means the world to us. One of our missions at DVS is to facilitate social change, and this will help us immensely. So thank you.
I should turn my mic on. Thank you for coming. So I'm super excited about this. So the North Bothell Little League U12, Greg? Yeah? There they come. All right. Well, she's got them all organized. That's why we hired her. We stole her from Kenmore. It's a good steal. So we're going to do a quick picture. So just real quick, my son played on the U12 North Shore Little League, which these guys beat us every time we played with them. So you never saw me. I was on the other stand, but thank you. Welcome. I watched you guys on TV with my kid, and you recognize some of you guys from playing with you, and it was awesome. Really proud of you guys. Actually, they have a whole proclamation to read, so did you get their picture? We good? All right. Okay, the North Bothell Little League recognition. Is Nolan here? There's Nolan, yeah. You're going to receive it, right? Your dad texted me ahead of time. It's all good. Whereas the North Bothell Little League Majors All-Star Team won its 3rd consecutive district title to enter the Washington State Tournament, and whereas the North Bothell Little League prevailed at the state tournament, securing state title, and whereas North Bothell Little League traveled to San Bernardino, California to represent the state of Washington at the Little League World Series West Regional Tournament, and whereas North Bothell Little League triumphed throughout the tournament, making it to the Northwest Regional Semifinals and went further than any other team in Bothell history. And whereas the North Bothell Little League represented their values on and off the field by championing positively, showing respect and sportsmanship, embracing learning, building community, and encouraging mastery and competition. And whereas the North Bothell Little League continues to be an example of integrity, dedication, and excellence for the city of Bothell and beats both other Little Leagues in the area. Now, therefore, I, Andrew Ray, Mayor of the city of Bothell, do hereby recognize the North Bothell Little League for their achievement achievement on and off the field as representative of the city of Bothell and the state of Washington. So thank you. Nolan, you're going to get this, right? Come over here. Now you got to have a speech, dude. I'm just kidding. There you go. You want to grab a picture? There you go. That's pretty good. Yeah. And then the council, you guys want to come around and get a picture with the kids? Or you just lord over them if you want, stand behind there. Everybody's welcome to stay, or you could just take off too. It's super fun. I'm sure you'd enjoy it, but. Thank you. Yeah. Next on the agenda is the staff briefing. We have a summer event recap with Carrie Batchel. Did I butcher that? I did. Awesome. Correct me.
Not too bad. Broccoli, just like broccoli with no R.
Broccoli. All right.
Well, thanks so much for having me here tonight. I am very excited to be here and tell you all about the fun that we had this summer in the world of Parks and Recreation. We had a lot going on, so I'm going to jump right in. Over the course of the summer, so from about June to August, we had 23 events that we put on in the community, and over 16,000 people came out to all these events overall. We had 26 sponsors that donated over $45,000 to help make these events happen and keep them free for the community. It's been so wonderful to see so many businesses in Bothell that are excited to be here and invest in making this an even better place every summer. Our 34th annual Music in the Park concert series happened in July and August on Friday nights at the North Creek Sports Fields, and I know a lot of you were able to join us for that, which was a lot of fun. Between those 8 weeks, we had almost 7,000 people in attendance, which was pretty wonderful, considering that it threatened to rain about every other week. Almost 900 people on average were there every week, and we had 3 shows that had over 1,000 people at them. I know at least a couple of you were at our final show with ABBA Fab. This was actually a band that a community member came up to us last summer and said, "You need to check out this band, they're fantastic." Turned out they were from Phoenix. We wrote them an email. Long story short, they agreed to come out, and we had over 1,500 people out that night wrapping up the series. It was a ton of fun, and we are crossing our fingers they want to come back and do it again next year. So in addition to the 8 Friday night shows, we also had 7 Wednesday morning shows, our Just Kidding Around concert series. And this was the 3rd year that we've had this series. It's grown in the last few years from 3 shows to 4 to a solid 7-week series this year. It's been so fun putting on this concert on Friday nights for the families, and then on Wednesday mornings for the kids in our community. We had almost 2,000 people at these shows this summer, nearly 300 every week. Our biggest show wrapped up the series with Casper Baby Pants. If you don't know him, he's kind of a big deal. He had over 500 people out there, and it was so much fun to see not just the kids, but their parents and grandparents dressing up for these concerts and coming out and dancing every week. So it's been really fun to see that continue to grow in popularity each summer. The Blythe Park Family Campout, this is also one of our newer events. I believe this was the 6th summer we've had this one. It was the 2nd summer that we've had 2 weekends that families have come out and pitched tents in the park for an overnight. So we had about 20 families each weekend, about 160-ish people total for both weekends. It's also the 2nd summer that both weekends sold out in less than 48 hours. This event has been booming in popularity. In fact, we had so many people logging on at midnight the day registration started that our system thought it was under attack and actually shut down for a bit. So that was super fun. But the event itself was great. It was a dinosaur theme this year. We had Dino Crew Northwest come out, and I can't even begin to describe the magic on the kids and the adults' faces when a 13-foot-long, 3-year-old Tyrannosaurus Rex named Mac walks out of the trailer and starts playing games and taking pictures with the kids. It was such a night to remember. And this event is one from the start that has been heavily supported by Ashler Masonic Lodge down on Main Street. Between both weekends, we have about 30 volunteers, both the men of the lodge and the girls in the youth programs there, who donate food, cook the food, bring games and lead crafts and campfire songs, and even get up at the crack of dawn to make sure coffee is waiting for the parents who have been sleeping on the ground all night first thing in the morning. So we are super thankful for their support of this event over the years. So in addition to all these big events, we also had a handful of smaller events down at the park at Bothell Landing, or Pobble as we like to call it in the parks world. We had BioBlitz Bothell in June, which was part of a National Recreation and Parks Association campaign, inviting community members to come out and use their smartphones and an app to help identify different plants and animals in the parks. We had our 3rd summer of Shakespeare in the Park down in the amphitheater this summer. We had a performance from the Linwood Community Band, and we also had an event partnering with King County Library Systems, Birds of the Northwest, a sketching event with author Molly Hashimoto, which was sold out and a ton of fun for all involved. We did indeed have a pop-up dog park this summer, which I'm sure you've heard a little bit about. We had over 200 dogs on day one of the dog park, and it was supposed to originally close down on September 15th. I'm sure you know it's since been extended, but we planned as kind of the culmination of that dog park, a pet parade on that Sunday. We had 88 entries of people and their pets who came out to participate. It was another rainy day, so we had about half of those in the end show up, but about 40 dogs and one brave cat came and joined us on that Sunday morning and dressed up in their costumes, strutted their stuff for the judges. And we had former Police Chief Carol Cummings out as our MC, and she did a fabulous job, and it was such a fun morning for everyone there. So those were all the events, but in addition to that, we had so much going on in the realm of camps and classes and leagues this summer as well. This summer, so in those 3 months, we offered 62 summer day camps to the kids in our community. A lot of those were with the Skyhawk Sports Academy, and then we also had art and drama and Legos and writing camps down in our little one-room historic building at the park at Bothell Landing, the Lytle House. So over 600 campers participated in those. 34 additional classes and programs from preschool to adults, and almost 600 more people registered in those as well. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but we have got a thriving adult softball league here in Bothell that's been happening for decades. In fact, every year there's teams that, when I ask how long they played, they kind of throw up their hands and say 15 plus, we've lost track. So we had 83 teams this year between our men's and our co-ed spring and summer teams or leagues. We had 11 divisions, over 1,000 players in all of those leagues. And this was the first year that we instituted an actual legit playoffs for them as well. So the top 4 teams in each division were able to battle it out for the coveted championship t-shirt, which was super well received, and we're excited to see that continue to grow in the years ahead. So as I said, it has been a very busy summer, and we are slowing down but not done yet. Just a sneak peek at what is coming up this fall. If you've seen the fall issue of the Bothell Bridge magazine, we've got over 40 more classes and programs. We've got art classes taught by social media influencers in the area. We've got cooking and Lego engineering and all kinds of good stuff happening down at the Lytle House. We've got our Safe Halloween event coming up on the 31st on Main Street. We'll be taking over and closing down the street to vehicles for a couple hours, and our sponsors and businesses down on Main Street will be passing out candy to 2,000 plus kids and their families that will come out. So if you don't have plans, dust off your costumes and come join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. And finally, this is something we are very excited about. This spring, we applied for a grant with the King County Arts Organization for Culture and found out at the very end of the summer that we were chosen as one of the recipients for their cultural equipment grant, which means we get to buy a portable stage for next summer. And this is going to literally bring our concerts and other events to the next level. The kids shows down on Wednesday mornings is going to provide a nice buffer between the children that are dancing and running around and the band and their equipment, so make it a little bit safer for everyone. And our Friday night shows take place out in a sports field, which is great because we have lots of space for people to spread out and get up and dance. But on that flat field, once you've got 100 people up and dancing, it's really hard for the people in the back to see. So we are so excited that we were chosen as one of the recipients for this, and looking forward to bringing this stage to our events next summer to make what we've got, an already great thing we've got going on, even better. So that is what I've got for you. Like I said, we had a lot going on this summer. If you have any questions about anything, I'd be happy to answer.
Deputy Mayor.
I guess I have to ask a question. So will you let me know when ABAFAB decides to come back? Because I was there. It was amazing. The energy, everyone was just having such a good time. And I just want to compliment you because your obvious enthusiasm for all of this makes it all possible and very successful. And I know you do it largely alone. So amazing work. Really great. Thanks.
Thank you. And I'll definitely keep you posted on ABAFAB.
Councilmember McAuliffe.
Thank you. And I just want to say this is a wonderful opportunity for all of our age groups to really enjoy our community get together. And I just want to thank you. And I'm sure there's a little team behind you because I know what it takes to put these concerts on and to organize these events. And I'm just really impressed with the work you've done. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we have a wonderful team in Parks and Recreation. I'm very thankful for them as well.
Councilmember Zorns?
Okay, so I think next year when ABAFA comes, the system's going to shut down because Deputy Mayor Doer and I are going to race to see who can MC that first. It's a lot of fun. And Shakespeare in the Park, hidden gem. I hope people of Bothell keep an eye out for that, because why go down to Bellevue or into Seattle or up to Linwood when it's in our own backyard, which is great. And then also the pet parade. We had a Linwood City Council member come and do some stealth, how do you guys do the pet parade? Because they want to tap into our ideas on the pet parade, which is cool. It's nice to have other municipalities want to copy us. So great summer, and like I said earlier, it was kind of a meh summer weather-wise, and you guys brought some real sunshine. So thank you.
That's it. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next is City Manager, Council Committee reports. City Manager, we're doing good? Council Committee reports. Deputy Mayor.
I'll just briefly summarize. WashDOT EAG met on the 10th and gave a legislative review, which we all know about the tolling and bonding of the tolls, and that we can expect some expansion on 405 between 522 and 527. And then an update on the 405 BRT line, and they talked about making an inline station at Brickyard Road. So now it's official because they told everybody, not just us. I was a little disappointed, and we're going to have to keep on them because they used the words, the 195th inline station is far, far, far away. And I protested how many fars they used to explain that. So just a note, we need to keep on that and not let them forget. And then Community Transit gave an update on the Swift line, which runs from Canyon Park up to Boeing Field. And it's just a few months old, and it's the second busiest line of theirs already. So really, really successful. That's it.
Any other committee? Councilmember McAuliffe?
Thank you, and I want to thank Nick Strope and Tracy Perowski and for their minutes from the September 12th Park and Recreation Board meeting. So let me update you a little bit on where we are with the PROS plan. Steve Doe with the Conservation Technics presented a PowerPoint presentation showing a high-level summary of the online PROS plan survey. This survey closed on August 31st, and the response was 1,241 surveys completed. So the response is a little bit low still at 15%, but our youth are at 4%, who actually talked about what they would like to see in our parks and recreation program. So I know that Nick is reaching out to our youth, and so we'll continue to do that. We're going to have a community workshop of Park and Recreation Board, and that was mentioned earlier by the mayor at 6:30 to 8:30 in council chambers on October 10th. And we'll try to invite people all through social media in every way that we can. I think it's important to make a note that Vice Chair Branham had a meeting with a citizen last week at the Beardsley Friday Market. A gentleman was in a wheelchair and goes to North Creek sports fields to watch his grandchildren play, but he has a problem finding disabled parking spots and is unable to get out of the parking lot onto the field without assistance because we need some ADA entrance help there. So I know Nick knows about that, and I appreciate Vice Chair Branham actually talking to people and finding out what their needs are as well. So I think also we talked about the dog park and how successful that was. Everybody loves their dog. Me too. And then there's going to be a study session with the council in December to discuss the special event permit process. And they will, the staff will be asking council for direction. So I think this is really important to the people who want to do events in this city, that they are able to participate in this as well. So thank you very much for your report, Nick, and for keeping me up on the minutes.
Councilmember Olson.
Thank you. So I'm just reporting on the General Assembly for the Snohomish County tomorrow. We had last Wednesday. It was an evening with the main focus on the HART, the Housing Affordability Regional Task Force. So they did a presentation, lots of information. I believe the slides and everything are available for that. There's a meeting, the next meeting coming up this Thursday, I believe, or coming up this week. And Councilmember Agnew is going to be attending that one, and it continues through December. And then they'll be putting out a report on this year-long process for what the county and what local cities can do to best enact housing affordability guidelines and best practices for us at the city.
Councilmember McNeil.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to give an update. We had an NPRSA meeting, and we are out for the levy right now. The NPRSA is out for a levy right now within the communities of Bothell, Kenmore, and Woodinville, Snohomish, and King County. We have a PIC meeting coming up this week, and one of the topics for the pre-PIC is going to be toxic social media. So it should be an interesting one if any of you can make that down to that meeting. We did send our support for the charter review as well as the 2050 vision. That was well received. It was a unanimous vote on the support for the regional, keeping the regional policies committees. There's going to be an appointment to the nominating committee, so I'm not sure if any of the council have put themselves in the hat for that nominating committee for PIC, but there's an open seat for that. There's going to be discussion on the regional homelessness, which we've discussed in the past about the ILA agreement between the city of Seattle and King County. That's going to be coming up here soon as well. So, thank you.
All right, that's it for the community reports. We're on to, oh, sure. Of Councilmember McNeil?
Or make a comment.
Okay.
All right, yes. I know this is difficult because you're used to saying PRSA and you're used to saying PIC, but for me and for other people, could you please say the complete name instead of like the acronym? Because that's very difficult for many of us to know. I mean, I'm just giving you this kind of my
NPRSA, let's see if he
reaction.
knows what it stands for.
North Shore Parks Rec Service Area, and PIC is the Public Issues Committee for Sound Cities Associations, which represents 38 cities, over 1 million people.
Thank you.
Glad you knew those. I didn't. Okay, so we're on to visitor comment. Oh, I'm not ready. You guys will miss me when I'm gone when I read this thing. Okay. Each person addressing the council will give his or her name in an audible tone of voice. For the record, and unless the council grants further time, shall limit the address to 3 minutes. No person other than the council and the person having the floor will be permitted to enter into any discussion either directly or through a member of the council without the permission of the mayor. And we have sign-up sheets. First one is Matol, and I'm sorry if I butcher your name, Chudge. How you say that last name?
Chudgar.
I never would have got that.
That's fine.
Welcome.
First name you got it right. So my name is Mithul Chudgar. Basically, I'm here. I sent an email already, but I wanted to put a face to my email before I spam everyone. I am an Indian Hindu. I volunteer at BAPS Mandir called Temple for Hindus. We are located in Redmond, and a lot of our visitors and volunteers are in Bothell, and we have so many turnouts, over 250 people assembly every Sunday. As all our devotees or visitors, as you say, most of them reside in Basel. Going forward, we were thinking what we can do for the city. We host a lot of community event, tree plantations, walk events around Redmond area. But the population that comes are from Bothell. Hindus start their new year in October, as per Hindu calendar, and I wanted to invite especially Honorable Mayor and Deputy Mayor and council members to our Diwali event to start a relationship where we can help the community here. So that's why I am here. I will send an invite personally by email, but I want to put a face to the email first and then send it over. So that's the reason I'm here and how we can help the city of Bothell. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll email you back. Next is James Johnson.
That name's a little bit, you can't really screw that one up. So as the mayor said, my name is James Johnson. I served as the ASB president last year of Bothell High School. I recognize many of you. And Rosemary McAuliffe, Councilmember McAuliffe, asked us to be here tonight to voice our support as youth in the city of Bothell for the formation of a Bothell Youth Council. And so I would just like to tell you a little bit about my experience as president. As president, of course, I had the opportunity to, put homecoming together, and we made a lot of posters, as is the typical ASB cliche. And I led assemblies and did all the typical ASB president sort of thing. But the other thing that I had the opportunity to do was to be involved in the leadership of the district and of the school itself. I worked with Superintendent Dr. Reed on two particular issues, the first being the 7-period day. So instead of 6 periods, we actually, I know this is going to come as a shock, but we convinced the district to spend $7 million more a year and actually keep us in school for longer. So it's not typically what students would sort of vie for, but that's what happened. And the other issue that I worked with her on was the issue of mental health. And in that area, we created a student-led panel. We call it the Mental Health Board. It exists at Bothell today. And what that does is, like I said, it's student-led, and it works to create change from the inside out and educates people on the issue of mental health. And so with these experiences and with these accomplishments that I've been so fortunate to have through my work as the ASB president, it made my decision to get behind a youth council so much easier. It was about a year ago now that Rosemary McAuliffe asked me if I'd be interested in helping her to form a youth council, and it didn't take me long to say yes. And the reason being is because I think that Bothell could benefit from a youth council. They could benefit from the perspectives that we bring, and they could benefit from really the added workforce that we would provide. It's not only a worthwhile investment in our youth, teaching us the workings of a government, it's a worthwhile investment, for the city as well, because I think that you guys gain valuable perspective from having a youth council. So with that, I think the next couple of speakers are my constituents, so I want to say thank you, and we can welcome them.
All right, thanks. Next is Aaron Powers.
Hello, I'm Aaron Powers, and I am this year's ASB president for Bothell. And going off of what James said, I think I'm just going to talk about some things that Bothell could benefit from a youth council. So I see Bothell, something really cool that could come out of Bothell is instead of having it as the adults that put on everything and all the government, we could have youth kind of contribute to it. So it's not that we have something that is separated through age. It's more we all work together as a community, because Bothell is a community. It's not just a separation between ages. And how we could just implement like our voices and the voices of the youth, because we are such a big part of this community as well. We are growing up in this place. This is something that this Bothell's place we'll never forget. It's a place that is our hometown. And for many people also in our community, that our youth will continue to live here for the rest of their lives and could really make an impact that could be really impactful. So having us just be able to have a voice here, as well as everyone else has a voice, and just put our opinions and help you guys and take our perspective, which is different because we are growing up at a different time. It's just having all this different perspectives from middle schoolers to high schoolers to elementary school to everyone above, and just figuring out where Bothell can best benefit for everyone and having our voices be a part of that, so we can help you see from our side, and just we can all work together so Bothell can be a community of everybody. So yes, that is what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Laura Yusum. Did I get that one right? Yes.
Hello, my name is Laura Yusum, and I just graduated from Bothell High School in June. When I was at Bothell High School, I served in many clubs as leadership positions, and so, for example, like chairman of FBLA and Honor Society, and those two main clubs required lots of volunteering. And one of the things that I am most passionate about is volunteering. As a club, we collected canned food for Goodwill and Hunger Busters. I'm sure many of you have gotten the little posters before on your door. We ended up collecting over 1,700 pounds of canned food, and it took multiple cars and multiple students to just help take all the food there. So it was truly an amazing activity. We've also volunteered at 5Ks throughout Bothell, and we even did yard work for Rivershore's senior living community. The reason I believe that the idea of a youth council is necessary is because it not only gives students a voice in their local government and the ability to change it, but it also, I think, could be a great source of volunteer work which could benefit the city. One of the requirements for Kirkland's Youth Council is to do at least 40 hours of community service a year just to stay in the program. And with so many kids needing this volunteer work to fulfill volunteer hours, we could have a Bothell Friday Market volunteer weekend, or I know I would be personally really excited to supervise dogs at the pop-up dog park. So there's a lot of good opportunities that would come out of the Youth Council, both for the youth and the council itself, as well as the Bothell City. So thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Next is Mia Johnson.
Hi, my name is Mia Johnson, and I am currently the president of Amnesty International Club at Bothell High School. We are a political discussion group, and it's basically a safe space for kids of all ages, like freshmen to senior, to voice their political beliefs without like argument or things like that. So I am also an active member of Bothell's community, and I am super involved. I organize a bunch of volunteer things, like Lara was saying. So for Amnesty, we do that as well. We do volunteer work, and I am in the process of organizing a lot of different things right now. And I think that without the youth being able to vote as well, it's hard to say that we have a voice in our community. So I think because of this, a youth council would be wonderful, just so that the youth has the ability to put their voice out there without necessarily having to vote because we are too young. Yeah, so as an active member of this community, I feel like me personally and my peers as well feel as if our voices are important and impactful to the community as a whole, and I think that that could be very beneficial to other things that we can do in the community, such as volunteering and volunteer options like that. And yeah, Amnesty has really shown me how the youth really wants to get involved and are really interested in government and politics, and also volunteer work and being kind and involved in the community. And that's why I think we should have a youth council.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else that wants to provide public comment? Going once, twice. There we go. Go ahead and come up to give your name for the record.
My name is Kyle Ferlander. I'm a resident of Bothell for a couple years now. And I was just wondering if I could ask what the purpose of a youth council would be and what power it would have.
So maybe you guys could talk to him over there in the audience. That'd be great. Okay, is there any other public comment? Seeing none, we need to go to executive session for potential litigation pursuant to RCW 4230-110-1G for
about 20 minutes.
About 20 minutes, so we'll be back at 7:02.